All right, what is everybody? Let's see if the cameras here actually work. Cameras are on? No signal, no signal. Black signal. Ah, boo. Okay, we're close. We're getting closer. Uh-huh.
Okay, can you try 1, 2?
1, 2, 3. Oh, the cameras work. Beautiful.
It does. No, it does. It has no SIM restrictions, so it is unlocked. It sees its modem and it sees its IMEI. So that's a good sign. Do you have a working SIM card? You want to just try with yours?
Put mine in here right now?
I mean, if it's not locked, what network do you use?
I'm on T-Mobile.
Yeah, the network, then that doesn't require
This is
like
unlocked.
any,
That should be.
T-Mobile doesn't require any special activation, so you can swap SIMs. And if the phone's working fine, you'll start getting a T-Mobile signal, and if you don't, the phone's not working fine.
So you said you were looking at potentially buying a microscope?
Yeah, I know you guys are sold out of these, and Amazon has them for like 600-ish. Like I'm not too concerned about the price, like plus or minus 50. I just want something that works well if
Yeah.
you're going to spend money on it at all.
I avoid the.
I'd rather pay like more for a good one than pay like 400 for it.
Most of these are really the same. Although the main thing is make sure if you get one, you don't get one that get the one that has this. See how my stand only has one. Yeah, see how that has this, so it winds up doing this, and then that's annoying. But sometimes it can be a benefit if you want to look at something at an angle. But I almost never want to look at something at an angle.
Because you can hold the board at an angle if you really do.
Clinton, I know. Providing fresh ESD since 2009.
Oh shit! Don't live stream this.
I live stream all of them.
Really quick. This is actually a bit more complicated than we expected. Because we actually have to find each individual board and then see which one matches with which. It's not just like, oh, I know this. I don't know.
I believe in you, Patrick.
Well, I'm just telling you, it's not going to be right now or in like the next hour.
Hour and a half.
It's probably tomorrow thing.
7 o'clock.
Probably tomorrow thing.
I believe in you. Go.
It's a tomorrow thing.
6:30.
No, we keep everyone honest.
6:30.
7:59. Plus 1 minute.
You left at 7:58 yesterday.
7:59 actually. You tried though.
What happened to my note?
Do you have a SIM opening tool? He has an iPhone which isn't reading the SIM card, but I wanted to just try different SIM
Let's
card.
see.
I'm not sure you could do this, but this is one of 2 problems I came here for today. Girlfriend's mother's phone. SIM card's in there. Device is unlocked. Not reading network bars. Not connecting to.
Is that an iPhone 7?
8 Plus. 8 Plus. It's not a baseband issue because it sees the IMEI number and it sees the modem. It's probably not the baseband. I told him to just try a different SIM card because he has a Pixel 6.
Do you need a SIM card tool or something else?
I'm telling him to use a SIM card
Yeah.
tool to swap the SIM cards, and there's a chance it'll just work.
Do I have a SIM card tool?
You can use tweezers when you open them.
Yeah, I like my tweezers too much. You would do that. You use my tweezers as an X-Acto knife. I saw that on stream.
What? But so are these the ones that you like, or these are the ones you can get on Amazon? Do you have any of the ones you can get on Amazon?
Those are the ones you can get on Amazon, pretty much.
These aren't. So what's the difference? Like the mount for the camera?
The mount for the camera. You have to find some alternative thingy to mount the camera. I don't like these camera mounts.
These are the Amazon ones.
Those are the Amazon camera mounts.
Okay.
So this is pretty much what you would be buying on Amazon.
Okay, that's exactly.
And that's
what
a
I'm
cheap,
here
shitty $45 camera from China.
for. Okay, that's perfect. That's exactly what I'm here for.
Hello, Sonny.
Oh!
Don't be afraid.
Sends all the weird iPhone repairs to Sunny.
Is that a fancy light ring, or there's one that?
That's the
Amazon
cheap shit one that comes with it.
recommends? Okay, nice.
Oh, well, you can. He suggested I'm going to try it.
It's before you open it, you want to eliminate any possible like use or error.
Cat. Why are you such an asshole all the time?
Can I saw some stuff?
Maybe.
I ran out of flux at home.
We ran out of flux here. I made the flux $100 on the website to keep people from buying it because we had 2 tubes left, and somebody fucking bought it. Clint.
Special edition.
Greenies.
Oh, wait, that is you trying to do with it? It's like half a bunch that I bought on eBay, and the one has a bad CPU, and the one doesn't charge the battery. So between the two of them, we have enough parts.
So what do you plan on doing?
So basically, I didn't bring any parts or tools with me because there's only so much out in my backpack. But the really scratched up one has a bad CPU. So even with the battery disconnected, and actually I already removed the battery, it does run off of this, and the screen turns blue. Those are bad CPU balls, like it's not really worth chunkering for this. On the other hand, this battery's probably dead just because it hasn't been charged in like a year, but it just doesn't charge the battery. It pulls 0 amps. Like,
So you think the battery from that could work in this?
I already checked, and if I connect the battery here, it turns on, it works beautifully.
Oh.
It just doesn't charge.
So change the
battery. Wrong with the charging. No, but it's not a battery.
Oh.
It doesn't charge.
Boo.
Like it's supposed to run without. It's supposed to run without a battery.
Who has a
And
switch?
I don't think it's a charge chip either, because I checked the voltages on the charge chip, and they're actually like reasonable within. They're within.
Who has a
a
switch
very
schematic?
narrow margin of what the other one is, but there are some like buck converters or something that have different voltages.
Who has a switch schematic?
There are no switch schematics. This is without schematics.
Sonny, steal a switch schematic.
This is
No,
without-
look at his backpack.
This is without schematics.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Fine current sensing circuit, maybe?
No, I'm. So, this is what it's supposed to
Oh,
happen.
you're fucking
50
kidding me.
volts. It works.
No, but is this cellular something you have to turn on?
Yes.
Okay, how do you turn it on?
Well,
You
you
have
give
a
it. You
bad
give it a
baseband.
couple of seconds. Wait.
Okay, wait. I just
It's-
switched the SIM
but
card.
It's,
Does this
it's
need
supposed to like.
does this
have
need a
setting.
restart?
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
Check if it has airplane mode on by any chance. And if in fact, just turn airplane mode on. Give it like 5 seconds and turn airplane mode off. This should.
I kind of want to reflow the CPU with a switch just in case TCRS is watching.
Oh, you could try it out. There's one that's like.
No, I saw the
I've
coder.
never held an iPhone in my life.
Put
So,
each single ball one at a time on the CPU, and when it came out not working.
That sounds painful.
He spent 3 hours doing it.
Where can I get lead solder? Allspec? Try Allspec.
That's actually really weird. That could be testing. See if it reads. Do one more. See if it.
Oh my god. Well, that's a.
You can sit.
You didn't use any of the expired flux I donated?
I don't know where that is.
I brought over the 2 boxes.
Oh yeah, I still have to get him to go through all the chips that he brought over.
Wait, you
Thank
know
you.
what? It's not seeing the SIM card's ICCID.
Yeah, that's a bad basement. Reset network setting.
This is.
He says it sees the
No,
IMEI.
it sees
Oh,
the
it sees
IMEI,
the
it sees IMEI, it sees modem firmware, but it doesn't display the ICCID, which it should. And it's
Maybe it's a bad SIM card.
no, but he just took his working SIM card out of his
SIM
Pixel.
card from mine.
It should work fine, but it should. Does anyone have an iPhone for comparison? If you pull up settings, like it
Reset?
should.
Reset
Just
network
any
setting.
iPhone. No, just pull up settings and see if it shows your ICCID. I think it's supposed to, just
Yeah.
in general and about at the top. Does it say ICCID something?
Yeah.
Yeah, it says ICCID, so it's IMEI, ICCID, MEID, IMEI. It's no ICCID. It's also possible that you have a broken pin on your like SIM tray if she put it in backwards or something.
Yeah, I got a bunch of stuff I need to solder.
What you got, Sonny?
I got some dual batteries.
Oh.
You could probably play around with that one, but you can try seeing with something else that works as a flashlight to see if you actually see 6 pins where you should
not good enough.
where you should see 6 pins. Because if one of the SIM cards pins are broken, that would
What did you
also
bring?
display
Let's
that
see.
it's not.
Oh, I just need to connect 2 pins to here and get 600 watts out of this battery.
Wait a second.
600 watts out of what?
Out of the dual battery.
Wait a second.
I'm afraid. What are you doing to do?
Trying to I'm trying to power a microwave off a drill battery.
Okay. Well, have a seat.
Yeah.
Wait, what's this seat making those noises?
We're living in the dongle era. Microwave NYU? No. Also, I cannot power a microwave with a drill battery.
Wait, Mark said you can't power a microwave with a drill battery.
Yes.
And you're gonna try to.
Yeah.
Why?
Because I know I can. Because this battery puts out like 500, 600 watts.
Turn it back on.
Why?
What's weird is basically it was acting as though it had a SIM card when it didn't, rather than just saying no SIM card.
Can you fix a microwave magnetron if someone brings it in?
If it's acting like there's a SIM card and there's no SIM card, then that is probably a bad case. So you're just looking to see where the phone behaves. It should say no SIM card. Often it says search.
Which side is the positive side?
I've given up on that now.
Which side is the positive side?
Depends on whether you're talking to Future Motion or everybody else.
Anybody else?
The flat side is the positive side.
I
Unless,
restarted it, and it doesn't see modem firmware, so that's definitely bad baseband.
yeah,
100%.
rip.
So this side, right?
If that was a 7, Apple would fix it for free, but it's an 8, so.
It's an 8 plus specifically. Yeah. I know HAKKO even covers the 7 plus. They only cover the 7. So.
This side is the positive side, right? You sure?
Good, bad, big trouble.
It says plus on it,
Oh, does it?
One of the
Yeah.
most important chips
on the other side.
slightly separated
Oh.
from the board.
Okay.
It's only when dealing with Future Motion products that that's not the positive
I
side.
mean,
Because they care about safety.
Yeah.
Since they care about safety, they specifically used an industry standard connector and reversed the polarity of it, so anything you plug into it will go on fire.
Makes
and
sense.
replace and taking one
It's very safe.
or potentially removing this one.
All right, let's turn on Sonny's microscope so we can see what he's doing.
And then like putting it back on.
Blackberry, do you trust him?
It's just like the people who like
Blackberry?
you and I can't do it properly.
Blackberry?
And the people
Hi, you just meowed. That's so cute.
over $200.
Oh my.
The amount
Oh, screw you, Clint. Don't be mean to Blackberry.
for the amount of effort. I don't think anyone competent would do it for less. But maybe. I mean, it works like an iPod. But if you restore it or reset it, it'll lock up to a point where you can't use it because it won't see its own baseband.
I've been told this has been factory wiped before.
That is
Recently,
weird.
which is why
That is actually weird. Should see its own baseband, at least.
I have never used it.
There's no positive side to Future Motion products, says the additionalist. Okay. We have Sonny is soldering something to an XT60. He's soldering XT60 so that he could power a microwave, which I don't recommend you doing at home, by the way. So if your magnetron blows up, that ain't on me.
I'm a professional.
You're gonna have to deal with Sarah Faye Pierce yourself. You're gonna have to deal with, dude.
It is a charging circuitry issue. I just don't think it's necessarily the charge controller, which I think is this. I don't think that. So this battery was charging one with good circuitry.
Before you start soldering, I gotta turn this fume extractor on. Hell no, Sonny. Hold that thing so it doesn't fall. Too late. I'll grab it. There we go. That's a professional air duct system.
This is as low as it goes.
No, it goes lower. Oh, yeah. Never mind. Wait, he got it to go that low. But that's a different shitty Amazon chair, isn't it?
That's a boss tool.
That's a bar stool?
Yeah, you see the round thing?
Well, fuck me. Try that chair.
Feels so low. There's nothing wrong with the charge. It's been sitting there.
Huh?
I'm allergic to cats. I'm gonna scratch my
Oh,
skin
whoops.
out. Don't worry about it.
That just means you need more contact. Oh,
That sucks, Paul, but I guess that's...
Today. About a year or two back, my dad gave me he told me it's a clock. I haven't opened it, but it's a lot of, what's the opposite of through hole?
Yeah, through hole, surface mount, BGA.
I haven't looked at it.
Yeah, let's get the other microscope on there too. Do you see what you're doing in microscope or no? Oh, okay.
You take a look at what I'm working with here.
Sure. So what are you looking to do?
Apparently it's a clock. So I've been told.
We are absolutely.
Is the microphone on mine?
It is. The world is watching, Sonny.
What are these plastics? I've never seen any of these before. So is my goal to get a bunch of these LEDs onto
Onto.
He sent me this whole thing as like a model clock. Just kind of, oh, hey, figure it out. Good luck.
Oh, you want me to build this?
No.
Oh, I have no fucking idea what that is.
But like,
Oh, I have no fucking clue how to put that together. If you figure out how to put it together, I'll help you solder something. And I'll show you how to solder something, but... Yeah, I have no clue how to assemble that.
okay, so let's.
But all I know is some of these pins, some of them are fabrics, so it does something different. And whatever the one is working,
There's a place to solder a bunch of different resistors, an LED.
some of them can go.
How do you know which resistor goes where?
So my idea was, I'm just going to remove the same chip from one.
Capacitor, a chip. Well, I mean, everything's labeled on this board over here. Bob Kidd says the switch not charging is M92 or BQ ICs. Bob says switch not charging is M92 or BQ IC chips.
I thought so too.
Keep in mind this is YouTube chat, so take it for what it is.
I thought so too, but I think the last time I looked at this was a few months ago for what it's worth. But I looked at the pins on those two chips.
Anel is allergic to
the
focus.
The voltages seem fine. The voltages seem fine. I think it might be these, which is some kind of high voltage to low voltage or low voltage to high voltage.
Oh no.
It might still be those. I mean, even if it is those, then I'll just take them off the road. So then we'll work.
Hey, he's trying to strip a wire or cut?
Strip a wire.
I have a wire strip.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. I had a wire stripper. Ah, here we go.
Yeah, I was doing the same, but for voltages.
Here you go, Sonny.
Oh, thanks. Okay, I think I found what I'm looking at. Please read the entire product. Okay, so surface-mounted LEDs, I think. Is there a way to send a PDF from here to a screen? But it talks about soldering temperature below 320.
You could email it to yourself, or you could connect it with to the computer with a USB port. Yeah, that's the computer. So you either use download it and connect it to the computer with the USB, or you could just email it to yourself. Hello, Piernov. Abe, sounds like you may have a dead CPU. Or Flex, yeah.
They both get voltages. It's just the voltages are lower.
One. And I need to remove this.
You're going to power a microwave off of a drill battery. Is this to prove Mark wrong or somebody else?
Mark. That's how I just that came out. From the USB one. Connect to the white dot, so it's a bunch of these guys.
Iron must be grounded, and it's best to wear an electrostatic bracelet.
I have an electrostatic bracelet. It's called an Apple Watch.
You have an electrostatic bracelet. It's called an Apple Watch.
Yeah, it does everything. It does everything.
So does this just do like 6 legs one by one all the way down?
Looks like it.
Welding transistor, 2, 1, 2, 6.
You're also going to want to lower the temperature of the soldering iron because it's set for a lead-free soldering on a 10-layer circuit board, not soldering an LED on a 1-layer. So I would lower the soldering iron to like 700 or 750 Fahrenheit because it's at 840 right now, which is way too much for this.
840, what is it? Below 320C.
I don't know what a C is. I'm American. 608. What? Who's soldering at 608 Fahrenheit? Oh, you could try lowering it to that.
Transistor, would that be? Oh yeah. I assume it's proper size.
What I would usually do with that is I would solder one pin, and then I would put solder on only one pin, right? And then I would heat the pin and then slide the component in, but have it be flat on the board. And then once that's soldered, then you can do the rest of them. Because if you try to like solder every pad and then it's going to be weird because it's not going to sit flat on the board. So what I would do is just put solder on one, then slide the component in here. Give me one of the chips that has to go in there. Your homework is going to be, I don't know what the fuck goes where, and I'm not going to look that up. But if you tell me like LED 1, what goes there, or U3, what goes there. If you give me U3, I'll show you an example, and then you can follow along. In terms of what in this bag is U3, I have no fucking clue. But once you figure that out, I will solder one of them as an example, and I'll show you the technique that I'm going to use, and then you go from there.
Oh man.
Yeah,
The smallest thing I've ever soldered was probably at the high school level, which
It'll be-
someone can see with their hands.
This will be fun.
I've never seen something like.
So we're going to do a couple of. The first is going to be you getting used to proprioception in the microscope. You need to be able to know where your iron is without being able to see your hand. So we're going to go over that first, and then we're going to go over soldering. But I just wanted you to see the way I'm going to solder this first before we get into all that.
Okay, so.
So first thing you need to do is show me what U3 is, or an LED, or any one of these things that goes there. Like what in the bag is what on this board?
Okay, well, by the instructions, right, it looks like they're just doing the bulk of the LEDs one by one. All the LEDs first, and then steps like 5, 6, it goes on to, it's not putting on the transistors.
You have to put in LED one by one?
It looks like
God damn, that's a factory job. That's what child labor is.
Yeah, we're too old for this, aren't we?
Yeah.
You can't have gray hair or have gone through puberty to be doing this. Either way. Yeah, just figure out which one you'd like to start with. Give me a piece and tell me where it goes, and I'll show you. All right. So let's now. Which orientation? You're gonna have to tell me the orientation. Indeed, Shadow Frost, America. How do you keep cats ESD safe? Well, each cat is actually wearing an anti-static grounding bracelet. Mr. Clinton, can you show everybody your anti-static grounding bracelet? Good kitty.
Clinton.
He has his anti-static grounding bracelet.
Wait.
Mr. Clinton. Patrick said adding that one chip to the website would be a multi-day project, so I told him he has until 6:30. He made a nervous face when I did that.
Yeah, I told him he's not going anywhere until he does it.
Adding a chip is not that hard. Hi, BlackBerry.
He said it belongs to multiple computers, so.
Yeah, all of them go to multiple computers. Also, Repair Shopper has a feature where you could search through, not Repair Shop, Flex Board View has a feature where you could search through multiple different PDFs for the name of one chip. With Paul's help, he'll find it. Hello. Progress.
Done?
The backlight drivers, those are just for like the mid-New Year stuff, right? Like the 1706 to 1990, and then for like the M1s and the new airs, we don't have. Has one?
Dan and Paul know that. I'm just management now. I don't know what chip goes to what machine. I'm useless,
He
man.
doesn't know about the new computer. So
I don't fix boards.
asking the wrong guy, yeah.
So who am I supposed to be asking?
Paul and Dan. Paul and Dan.
Everyone keeps moving me on to the next person, bro.
No. We're gonna. Dan, let me introduce you to the shipping department. Dan, you know him? Remember him? You trained him?
It's just the 2179
Yeah, he's pretending you're not real.
I know, everyone does that.
Look, he's doing the Matrix.
Anytime I have a question,
Which scene in Game of Thrones is this where everybody's turned around? The faceless? It's the faceless something. Okay, now. Hey,
I have 90% of it.
will you two be able to help him with the chips?
Yes.
Because I don't.
On Sunday.
I don't.
The Rangers game right now.
Good luck.
Okay.
So what am I supposed to write for this?
He pretty much has all.
Okay, you have to go to Madison Square Garden and follow him to the Rangers game and ask him the questions.
2159.
Dan will help you. Okay, back to this. Soldering. Okay. You have which one goes in which location? Let's see. Okay, that's good enough for me. Let's make an educated guess. Okay, let's see. You have an LED.
So I pulled one out of that ribbon. It said the corner should be on the one with the white dot.
The missing corner on the LED corresponds to the white point. Yes. Okay, beautiful. Okay, so first thing I'll do is I'll show you the general technique. But you can... And the second thing I'll do is I want to get you used to actually working in a microscope. So, piece of... There we go. It works so much better when you plug it in. Okay, so ground myself.
Computer?
Yeah,
Plastic?
the metal part in the front. You just touch the grill, all this stuff over here.
Okay, sure.
Or my desk, because my desk is grounded too. But you get a bunch of... Okay, so first thing we do, turn this around.
Had it in the binocular. I'm looking at it on the screen.
That's fine.
So
this is the orientation.
corner goes in the white dot.
Now, what I'm going to do is add... Now, where's my flux? Uh-huh. Wait a second. Sonny, did you steal my flux?
No, he's gonna sell it to you.
Oh, never mind. I lost it over here, and I'm blaming Sonny. Blaming Sonny for things I did wrong is something I do too often.
Flux is the large dentist needle.
Video capture. Where is any XCA 15? There. Syringe. Okay, so first thing. Now, anytime you're soldering, you don't want to just touch the solder to whatever it is you're working on. You don't want to touch the heat to the solder because and let go. So anytime you're soldering, you're going to want the solder to flow. I'll give you an example. Once this thing heats up.
Whole area. Flux is not conductive, so that can just.
Yeah, it's not conductive at all. So like you want to do this. Let's say I'm tinning a pad, right? I'll show you. So if I'm tinning this pad, I'm going to want to do this. I'm not going to want to do this. See, I had the iron touching the pad. The iron is touching the pad and the solder at the exact same time. So it's touching the pad, and then I'm flowing the solder in like that. What you don't want to do is this. This is what a lot of new people do. They'll put the solder on the iron, and then they'll do this. Why isn't it going? Because yeah, the pad's not hot, so nothing's going to happen. Also, this board is really, let's lower this another. 600. 630. Okay, so what I'm going to do down here is I'm going to solder one pin at the low temperature that they ask, and now I'm going to slide this in there. So I'm going to heat the pad and slide the LED in, and now the LED is flat on the board. It's not going to be, well, flat on the board and not sticking out. Now I can do the other corner. Now also here, you're going to want the iron to touch both the pad as well as the pin on the LED at the same time, because the solder is going to go where whatever something's hot. So it's touching both at the same time, and you do that. So you're not placing the solder on the pad or placing it on the pin. You heat both, and the solder will naturally go where you want it to. Like that. See, I just screwed that up. I was touching the pin, but without touching the pad with my iron, because my hand isn't steady. And you could see that the solder stuck to the pin of the LED rather than the pad. Okay, so we touch both, and there was enough residual solder that it flowed. Also, there was this stuff over here. See this stuff that's smoking? That's flux. Once the flux inside the solder is gone, and it stops smoking as much, it's not really going to flow very nicely. But I didn't have to worry about that over there because I had enough flux already on the board. That's why you can never use. There's no such thing as too much flux.
Is there a way to be certain that you didn't accidentally short these two together?
Which?
Well,
Which pins?
one leg next to the other. You just have to be careful of that.
I mean, well, it's far enough away that that's not going to be a problem. Like, look at how far this is from that. Also, solder's not going to stick to the board, so I'll show you. So look, let's say I try to look. See,
it doesn't stick.
solder.
Speeds up on
See,
Oh, okay.
this is called solder mask. So see how it's like running away? It's never you don't have to worry about that on this board. There are many times you do have to worry about that when connections are really, really, really close together. But even when that does happen, you can fix it by just adding flux, getting rid of all the solder that's on your iron, and then tapping it. And the solder is naturally going to be attracted to heat. The same way it's going to be attracted to whatever it is you're heating. Whether it's the reason the pin and the pad both have to get hot is because the solder is flowing to the heat. If the iron is what's getting hot, you add some flux. The excess solder will wind up on the iron itself. Okay. Now, the first thing I want you to do before you even solder anything onto this board is I want you to get used to a concept called proprioception. That's knowing where your body is without seeing something. So let's say you had your eyes closed and you weren't looking. You should be able to know that your hand is here, or your hand is here, or your leg is there. You need to know where your hands are and where your iron is without looking at them. Because when most people use a microscope, the first thing they do is, I don't know where I am, and then they go out of the microscope, and that winds up screwing them up. So you're gonna so adjust. First thing you do is adjust this to fit your eyes. Actually, first thing I'm gonna do is clean it. One moment. This. Okay. So first thing you're gonna do is adjust this to the width of your eyes.
Glasses okay?
I don't know. Never worn glasses before.
Yeah, glasses okay.
I mean, Sonny's wearing glasses right now. That's just because he needs to get warranty on his LASIK.
Yeah, I have all of them.
How much did you spend on LASIK?
Like
$2,500
2,500.
and you can't focus.
Well, I could focus. I just have manual focus.
Sounds like you got fucked.
Oh wow.
Okay, so now once you have it to where you can see properly, now what you need to do is, where did I put number 2? Number 2 is this one. Boom. Okay, now you need, without the iron being on, I want you to practice figuring out where this is. Tangled wire. So you need to know where this is without being able to see your arm. Let me just switch the output of this over. Here we go, so the camera will show up on the screen.
Pretty sure it hasn't been a water damage in that condition. And it doesn't mean much, but all the water damage increases.
That HDMI switcher sucks. That actually took 7 seconds to switch over. What an absolute pile of shit.
Right now. It's not live, is it?
I know. Which camera is this?
Oh, this is the camera. Oh, camera froze.
What a... Yeah, it froze on there too. High Air. Don't buy an HAYEAR camera. This workshop is not brought to you by High Air Camera.
So this is just a direct feed into that, no software computer or whatever.
Yeah, this is an HDMI switcher. I got it because I thought it would be faster, but what I didn't realize is that the camera that I bought was the biggest piece of shit.
Hard reset.
It'll show up on here too because of the HDMI splitter. It still says no signal. That is a shitty microscope camera. A DV9000 HP with a clicking hard drive boots faster than that. I think it died. No, it's not that. It's doing its job because it's shooting out the... When everybody asks why do you link people to a $600 microscope camera that you use, this is why. This is what happens when you buy the $60 one. You have to hold it down, I think. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Let's see. The monitor is fine.
Switch should be here, so. Okay.
We take Sonny's tank.
Take Sonny's camera. What a fucking piece of shit.
Yeah, HMI splitter. Just make me sit over here. Oh.
Just take it off.
Oh, what? Oh, yeah, HDMI splitter.
Oh shit, did I push it? I know. Oh, I fucked up. This one I fucked up.
Oh, snap.
You just have to put it to where it's at the same focus as the eyepieces. Okay, so we're down to 2 stations with microscope cameras.
Oh, wow.
Okay, thank you, Anna. So what I want you to do is get used to knowing where your hand is without looking out of here. So you need to be able to know, let's move this down. So you need to be able to tell, my hand, my iron is over here, and then here, and then here. Like, I know exactly where my hand is without looking down right now. So if I just toss this iron in the air like this, and I'm looking at the screen, I can figure out where my hand is and where it goes. My hand-eye coordination is absolute trash. You see me play basketball, but this is the idea of knowing where your body parts are without looking at them. So I want you to practice that a little bit. Don't look at the screen. Looking at the screen will mess you up. I want you to look into the oculars of the microscope before we actually do any soldering work. Let me get my bottle of water. I lost my bottle of water. Did he add categories? He has to add categories for the new MacBook Air because we're getting the PMIC in next week. No more reballing PMIC. They come pre-balled. They're not used. They're renew. Not new, but renew.
Oh, they're both? But reball?
Renew.
What's your idea?
Whatever the fuck
That
that
was renew.
means.
That sounds kind of sus.
Yes. Boo. What?
As soon as I start cutting, they just start getting sent donuts every day.
Seriously?
Meanwhile, 2 weeks ago when I was a fat fuck, donuts didn't come a single day.
I always have done
Let's
it.
see. What do I weigh?
I can take here. Yeah, this is 10. Actually, oh no. Oh, you have made actually. Yeah. So actually, yeah.
Really? I didn't know. I don't remember adding them.
I think you did.
Oh, that's cool.
Everything up to even the new M1s. Like
Whoa.
the 14 inch and 16 inch.
Then he has to take a picture of the chip.
Yeah. Well, pause it.
But he's dancing like a clown.
Paul has it.
Why is Patrick dancing like a clown?
Because I'm happy that it's done. So you
Just-
don't. Sorry.
There's no way it was done.
So you don't roast my ass. Go.
Maybe.
I disabled it because we don't have a picture and it shows the old Dash 03, so people might get confused.
Do you have a spare microscope camera?
Have any moves like I can keep
You're supposed to be the inventory manager. Where's the spare microscope camera? This one broke. What am I supposed to do?
I don't even have a microscope.
Can I blame Patrick for this?
Of course you. Everything's broke.
Yeah. In the middle of the fucking video.
Blame Dave. He's the one that found those orders.
I'll blame David. To help keep Lewis in confidence in the projects, get some dead fishies. No, I can't get dead fishies at the moment, Artie. Mostly because I don't know where Christopher Kelly gets them from. How does one go about signing up for this class? There's no signing up. You just show up.
1.7 mil.
There's a calendar in the video description. You just show up when they're there.
22 people showed up.
Yeah, that was crazy. Okay, so are you feeling slightly more confident at knowing where your iron is?
Yeah.
Now that's a... Okay, so now what you have to do is turn on the fume extractor. That's, I think, the bottom and to your right. Yeah, there's an on-off switch on that.
Under the table?
Yeah, look to your right. There you go. Yeah, turn that thing on. No inhaling solder here. This is an iPad rehab.
It's just on medium. Medium should be.
Yeah, I just pull that thing up a little closer to you. I guess. That falls off too easily. I have to tape that later. I just keep forgetting to tape it. I never make the time.
I will be using the computer, right? So
Jake, I would suggest buying a monitor that works. Thank you, Seditionalist, for answering the frequently asked questions.
Which is why it's failing to.
okay.
Okay. So what you're going to do is there are many different ways that you can do this, and feel free to find the way that works for you. What I would do for start is, again, solder one pad, add some flux. With the flux, now remember, every time you're soldering, you have to be adding solder as you're heating it, or else the flux goes away. That's the principle behind why I'm telling you to add flux to the pad. Slide your LED in, and then solder the rest. And this iron will cool itself off every time you put it in the container. And also, you remember, you're going to have to lower it because it's set to a MacBook temperature right now, which is going to be, 840 is going to burn right through that LED. So,
the LED is plastic, correct? So solder should not touch the non-contact part, I assume?
not sure. Actually, damn, this is miss. Do you have the key?
All of that thing.
Somebody stole the key.
There's a key. This needs a
Yeah.
key. Does your station not have a key? Do you lock your station's key? If I steal your key, what happens? Like a childproof lock? Oh, seriously?
That's my key. Touch my. Okay. It's to keep people from changing the temperature in slave factories in Taipei or something.
Oh, wow. You weren't kidding.
Yeah, if the kids want to be able to leave early so that they can get food, they're not allowed to. They have to solder at lower temperatures. Because you get the work done faster if you use a higher temperature, but there's a higher likelihood of killing the chip. It's always a balance.
This isn't solid. This is like paste. This isn't solid. Yeah, this is like paste. I mean.
Yep. Use it wisely.
Yes. It turned off?
It turned off. You stole his.
Wait, it broke?
No. The moment you pressed something there, we lost video here.
Splitter. Okay, we have vision. But
With an L patented focus.
it's weird.
Oh, it's either one's focused or the other.
Donuts from James.
Okay, you got one pad. What? Who's sending all these donuts?
I don't know. Someone
Your
named
fans
James.
think you love donuts.
I don't eat donuts.
Tell James thanks.
Well, these guys will probably eat it.
Sure, I'll eat it.
You take one? Okay.
I can watch
I can't eat donuts.
Find some here. I'll leave it again. Find the place. Thank you, James. Okay.
Clinton? He's an ESD safe kitty. Clinton, are you ESD safe? You are ESD safe, aren't you? Good kitty. What a good boy.
As soon as I start cutting, they say, "Oh, let's send them donuts, Krispy Kreme, and donuts every day." It's
Yeah.
actually sick.
Oh, yeah, he is.
It's sick.
That's
We appreciate the donuts. Thank
Don't
you.
get me wrong, I love the donuts. I love the gesture, but
Dan wants more donuts.
Ignore Dan.
He's been,
maybe a salad.
Dan is saying he wants sushi.
Maybe some salad.
Some crumb.
medical exemption to leg day.
Imagine Danny was out because of his heart. How many years do you think he won't touch anything?
5, 6, 7 years. 5, 6, 7,
Oh man.
30, 40.
30, 40. What do they have? What kind of devices?
A Nintendo Switch with bad CPU balls. Another one, a Nintendo Switch that doesn't charge but no schematic. One of them is soldering an LED board, and Sonny is trying to power a microwave using a drill battery.
But why?
Because he's Sonny.
Oh my god. Hey, listen. We accept special students like Sonny.
I don't have a license.
Like, it is good that you did that, because we need the good one for measurements. So no, it's not, yeah. So.
Okay, you're putting the solder on the iron rather than flowing it into the pad. Let's see. Let's watch. What are we doing here? Is there a schematic for a broken heart? Asked Jamie. Jamie, if there was, I wouldn't be sitting here single. Unfortunately, there's no such thing. There is no such thing as a schematic to a broken heart, Jamie. But you know who breaks my heart more than anybody else, more than any woman ever has? New York City commercial realtors. Just gonna put that out there for you, Miss Corcoran Group. Anyway. That's way too long. What though? That's an even at that low temperature. Okay, it's like boom, bim. It's immediate. So first, yeah, you should have enough flux there. You tap the iron long enough to touch both, and bam. Like you should be in and out in like a quarter of a second to half a second. Like ding, ding.
My left hand is not working.
Let's try again. Let's do the other side. Turn around to do the other side, and add some flux for yourself.
Oh, so this is like a right hand dominant kind of.
Yeah, right hand holds the iron, left hand holds the solder. Are you a righty or a lefty?
Righty.
Glad to hear that you use the correct hand. It's better to be right-handed than wrong-handed. So add some flux for yourself. Why, oh why, yes. But you're just going to come back to ask the same question tomorrow, so it doesn't really matter. I could answer that question until I'm dead. Let's see. Who would microwave a cat? I would never break your square footage heart. Oh, that's very kind of you. Very kind of you, Jamie. Let's see. A broken heart is not right to repair. No, if it was, I've made as much progress on right to repair as I have on right to repair broken hearts. Bye-bye. Let's see. Okay, let's see how long you're leaving the heat on this.
So solder touches both points at
No.
once.
Well, your iron touches both points at once, and your solder is naturally going to flow to the both. So here's the thing. If your iron is touching both the pin and the pad, and you get your solder just kind of somewhere in there, it's going to naturally flow to whatever is hot, which is the pin and the pad. So watch. So you're going to tap your iron to the pin and the pad very quickly, and then immediately put the solder in, and then let it go. Because you don't want to keep it there too long. If you keep it there too long, you burn away your flux. Also, the longer you keep it there, the more you're heating that LED and killing it. No, all right, put the iron there. Now, put the iron there. Touch hard, and now put the solder there, quick. Okay, that's... Well, you put the solder there a second after you took your iron away. That's a fail. Your iron... What? No? Okay, touch your iron there. With your iron held there, put the solder in, and then let the solder go, and then let your iron go. Do it. Put solder. Okay, now you're done. Now let go. Okay, now do that again for the next one, except with way less solder. You add less solder this time. Also, if you want to get rid of some of the excess solder, what you do is you clean that off in that mesh over there. There you go. Get rid of all the solder that's on there, and then tap it. As long as there's still a little bit of flux there, the solder is going to flow to whatever's hot, which is going to be the iron. I don't know, Brian Miner. The top right cam is supposed to show a Nintendo Switch, but now it's not, so we're just going to turn it off. No shit, GM, that's why he's here. And what are you doing? Yeah, you're sitting in a chat bitching, so GTFO. At least he's here trying to improve himself. You're just being a cunt in the chat. Let's see. All right.
How do you tell if you've made a good connection?
What does it look like? Well, the bottom left is not a good connection. Can you tell me why?
Too much?
Not too much or too little. It hasn't flowed into place. There's a mountain, but the mountain is not sticking to the pin very well. Like, it should be very, very smooth. So let me give you, let's see. How bad was mine? See how that is? See how smooth that is? It's just like the solder is in
right? I'm looking at?
the middle of the top right. And it's a natural extension. There's no excess solder anywhere. And watch, the way that you make that better is you didn't have the heat there long enough. You were trying to place the solder on there. That's not how this works. Yeah, I'll make this one better because I made this. Okay, so that has not flown. So watch, the way I would make that better is a little bit of flux. Move a little. Okay. Watch how it looks once it's touched proper. See how it flew? Flown?
Oh, it looks clean.
Flowed?
Yeah,
Flied?
Cleaner.
Did I just say flew?
Flown, flied.
Wow. Okay. Also, this is way too much over to the right. It's not centered. It's still gonna work, but it's not centered. You're leaning a little fox. You want to go MSNBC next time. So this is, see, I can barely see the pads on the right side, but on the left side, you see them completely. Now this is technically something that will flow into place with the hot air station. Just don't know, using hot air on an LED can be kind of mean.
Like hot air, so just blasting hot air.
Yeah, so let's lower the temperature of this.
Shift the whole thing, it gets that hot?
Yep. Yeah, I'll lower this temperature a little bit. See that?
Oh!
It just kind of naturally flows into exactly where it needs to be. That's surface tension. So so the solder is kind of like quicksand. It's gonna naturally bring it exactly where it needs to be. That's how, even though I'm a complete spaz, the chips that I put on the board, they look factory. Not because I know how to place it or because I have hand-eye coordination, because I don't. It's just I cheat using surface tension. But either way, what you're doing is you're putting the solder on the iron and then touching the chip. That's not how this works. You have to be heating the pin and the pad. And here, you heated the pad because the solder was on the pad, but you didn't heat the pin. That's why you had a mound of solder on the pad, but it didn't make its way to the pin. See that? This is a nice little... Look, it's a smooth little mountain. There's no real shape to it. It's not like a mountain or a Hershey's Kiss. You want to avoid things that look like a Hershey's Kiss. So let me see if I can give you an example of what a Hershey's Kiss would look like on a different pad. So here, on this one, I'll make a Hershey's Kiss.
It looks like you usually put too much solder and then your iron pulls away.
So once the flux is out of the solder, do you see what that did over there? Do you see that's not, it's like on one side of the pad, this Hershey's Kiss thing. You want to avoid this. So I want you to make a mental note of what this Hershey's Kiss like solder joint looks like over here at an angle too. Like it's not evenly distributed across the pad. And the way you avoid this is by either using more flux. Paul's not here, so I can say that. Or, and also by applying, and not just taking the solder and then plumping it down. You want to heat the pin and the pad, and then just let the solder go in. So what? And add a little flux. Do this.
Oh, and it flattens out. Oh, that's cool.
See?
It flattens out. It's clean.
Yeah. Like, it's not your job to paint the solder perfectly. You're not painting it like to try and build it so it's perfectly flat. That's not how this works. It's going to naturally flow into place. You just have to allow it to naturally flow into place. Try this one. Let's see. Never happened, Sherlock Holmes. Never happened. I gave up on that.
Flux first.
Come on.
What?
Not fitting properly.
So the drone battery goes, I mean, the drill battery goes inside this case,
Yeah,
and then the drill battery goes out to an XT60.
yeah.
But then how's the XT60 go to the microwave?
It goes to go to the inverter. And then the inverter, the microwave plugs into the inverter. It's just science.
Very good turning the board around. You don't care about the board's comfort. You care about yours.
So you said start on this one where the bead is.
Can you get it on the screen? Yeah, so you're going to heat the pad, slide the chip in. Now, obviously, you're going to want to have the chip as close to there as humanly possible so that you're heating it for the least amount of time as humanly possible. The less time that you're heating, the better. The less chance that you're going to damage the LED, the less chance you're going to pull a pad up off of the board.
Pointing to the dot, so it should be facing this way. Pointing to the dot.
Yep.
So now let's see here. Heat the pad.
And then slide that in. Okay. So when you're going to have to, firstly, you have to slide it more over. You can heat the pad all the way on the right side of the pad so that you have more room to slide the LED over. There you go. It's a little crooked, but that's fine.
I feel it's not.
Pretend
like
you're a
flat
politician.
level either.
Well, the way you could fix that is you put your tweezer on the top of the LED, no, in the center of the LED. Not there, because then you're in the center of the LED. And then you heat, push, take away, and there you go. Also, see, you're touching the solder joint. You're afraid, it seems like you're afraid to touch the pin and the pad at the same time. So you're getting your soldering iron into the middle of that solder pool.
No, okay, because I need to heat both.
Yeah, heat the pin and the pad at the same time, both. And also, don't move it around the moment you take your soldering iron away. You're going to get, because you're moving it around as the solder is cooling, so you're going to have a bunch of little cracks and things in there. It's not going to be natural. So when you take your heat away, you stop moving whatever it is you're moving. Also, that's way off. Also, you have a Hershey's Kiss now because you ran out of flux. So if you heat it too many times without adding new flux, or you spend too much time heating without adding new solder or flux, you're going to wind up with that little Hershey's Kiss looking spike. Very cool, Nathaniel Rees. Also, it's too far to the left. A little more fox. See? You went to MSNBC. Other direction.
The whole ship should move to the
Right. So you see over here? Look at all the space. you have on this one, and barely any over here. Now, you obviously you can use hot air to get it to naturally go into the perfect place, but I want you to try and get it perfectly without. Also, have you added flux? Because
I have a little bit, yeah.
okay, because I want to see that not look like a Hershey's Kiss when you're done.
I don't think you can use the.
Also, you're lifting it off. You're kind of lifting it off the board a little bit. I already did.
Okay, so if I want to push the thing to the right, should it be like tweezers grasping top and bottom of the box, or should I just be?
Tweezers grasping top and bottom.
Yeah. Okay. So.
And you're going to want to hold it in place. The moment you take the heat away, you're going to hold that in place. Don't allow it to continue moving. And make sure it's on the camera. So yeah, you have the other one on camera. There you go. I'm actually, you know what? Might take you up on that, Jamie.
That looks a little better. It's more centered.
Do you have a multimeter?
Yeah, it's still a little too MSNBC. Needs to move over a little bit. Down and to the right. Also, let me show you. Let's slide over for a moment. I need to show you something. You're driving me nuts. Let me this. So when you are heating this, right? I want you to touch the pin and the pad at all times. So when you're heating, you're doing this.
I'm only touching the.
You're touching the pad. You're not touching the pin of the chip. That's driving me insane. You need to do this. Watch. When you're moving it, like this. I'm touching the pad and the pin. I'm touching the pad and the pin. Don't do this. Don't just touch the pool of solder. This is bad because you're not touching the pad or the pin. And technically, it's still a joint, but it's going to be a shit joint. It's just not the same. You want to touch the pad and the pin at the same time whenever you're moving it, like this. They move in tandem. And also, my hand slipped and I may have melted the side of your LED. My hand slipped, so I melted the side of your LED.
It's fine. It'll work.
I owe you a new LED. Sorry about that. Yeah, I get you.
I didn't actually count. I hope there's like extras in that.
Yeah,
That's why Paul and Dan do all my work now.
Chinese are generous people. They always give extra. How do you turn this on?
The LED will still work. It's just that plastic looks shitty. But
So I just consider the bottom right corner okay for now.
Yeah, but you have a shield
Yeah.
covering it. You're not gonna see it.
no, but that's soldered properly. But when you're doing it, you want to be touching the pin and the pad at the same time.
How do you turn this on?
The first thing you do is you put a battery in it that's not dead.
Oh.
If David took the battery out of this, I'm gonna do something I can't say on camera. Yeah, you have to take the battery out.
How do you tell if there's enough flux? It looks like a pool. It looks like a little pool.
This is the topic of fierce debate here at the store. It's 610 degrees. That's not high.
Good enough. Wait.
You also may find it easier if you're using a micro pencil iron. Try plugging this one in instead of the big iron that you have there.
Just the straight just pulls out?
Well, you push on the top and then pull it out. And then plug this one in.
Where do we cool this off?
Just drop it on Sonny's leg. This can go. Bada bing. Safety.
Oh, what the fuck?
What?
This does 12 volt on and off.
You have it set to. Oh, yeah, it's on DC. No, it's 12.26.
With off.
What is it supposed to be?
12? Oh no, it's dropping. Okay, that's good.
Rob Brown says, I'm proud Sonny hasn't blown himself up yet.
Soldering is all about genetics.
Please do not let Sonny solder his battery. He'd be an arsonist. I have faith in Sonny. If somebody has an Andostar or Microcam that could hook up to their PC, would you do a Discord workshop? In person. I don't want to do online ones. Oh, that's awesome, Tweety. I'm glad we fixed something. Stop. Okay, watch. So you have the joint is placed like this. You have an iron, and you're doing this with the iron. Instead of doing this, so you'll get more contact. See how that iron is shaped
At an
at an angle. Yeah. So see technically this is 620 degrees. This is 620 degrees. But this makes so much more contact that even at the lower temperature, you're getting a lot more heat transfer. So you don't want to do this. You want to do this. Up, and you gone too. Not in the mood for it today. Bye-bye. You're allowed to tilt the board a little bit, so you can work at it.
Is that connected?
No, not even close. You're adding the solder after you take the iron away because you're scared to keep the iron there, which is understandable since you just saw me burn the other side of it. However, since that one's already burned, you should feel freedom and just overcome your fear and allow the iron to make hard contact with that for a half a second. See, that's still a blob. So add some flux and then tap it again. Check your Discord DMs. How do I change the thumbnail? Hit edit, details. Oh, that's actually a really good one. I'll take a look in a sec. Okay. Let's see.
Too much solder on the right side. They look like 3 large
Come on.
bulbs.
Wait, but are you touching the capacitor? Are you angling the section?
You're never making contact with the entire thing. Watch. So watch. It's all gonna go away. See? Clean it off.
What if the ground adds not a
You're trying to take away the excess solder. No.
Yeah, but I'm also heating the pin. Look, you can't go just halfway in. I want the knife to make contact at the right angle point. So much. So the pin. No, look, the pin is over here. The pad is over here. I don't want the iron touching this or this. I want it getting right in there, right at the right angle point. I don't know what you call that. I didn't pay attention in 7th grade math. Is the adjacent, opposite, hypotenuse, right angle, whatever the fuck the corner is where the right angle is. You want the knife to touch that, like this, so that you're heating both at the same time for that short period. Eh? And there you go.
That is time confirmed.
So,
Do I consider this LED okay?
yes,
Okay, move behind.
plastic on the side is seen better days, but nobody will tell. A little bit of white out on the top and it'll be good. And next one. Let's see what you got. And, you learned something, James. I'm glad.
Once you get used to it, it'll be a lot easier for you.
Yeah, the trouble's getting used to it. You want to try redoing the CPU on this?
Reflow.
One blow at a time.
I don't think a reflow will fix it because it's like,
It's not about fixing it. It's about triggering Tim Herman if he's watching.
it's on par with an iPhone 7 baseband IC. Also, we're gonna fix this. It's just the main power IC is bad.
Oh,
That's
BGA or QFN?
all. QFN.
Oh, that's easy enough.
Yeah, yeah.
How'd you figure it out? Was it burn looking?
I now have the right idea to check the pins on the charge port.
Uh huh.
And one of the pins that was like the charger communication for establishing, like, it's probably whichever pin is used for like establishing the voltage
Mhm.
to talk to the power IC on, was shorted to ground. But
Oh.
the charge port itself looked flawless. Like, it clearly wasn't shorted on the port.
There you go.
So I was like, it probably goes to the main power IC. So I just checked all four sides and we found a pin that it goes to on the good board. It should have a direct short.
Replace it and see if it works. And then once that board is a donor, let's reflow the CPU to piss off Tim. Seven. It's almost over now. You're good. What are you doing up here, Oreo? Oreo, you're not supposed to be up there. Oreo.
I know, put him up there.
He's probably afraid. I knew he didn't jump up there himself.
Absolutely.
He's
not.
way too fat and way too lazy.
Trying to pawn off your cats.
So is Oreo even able to get down?
He probably isn't. I used to give him something for his joints because the vet thought he had arthritis.
How do you feel about that? Huh?
He jumps
Is
down.
that Blackberry?
Yes.
Berry?
You're adorable, Oreo. Are you an anti-static kitty? Are you an ESD safe kitty?
You have to wipe them down with like Kim wipes or something, so they're not staticky.
No, I just touch something that's grounded every time I touch the cat. Like the desk is
Yeah.
Oreo. I wonder if there's a rule. You know the AASP manual to become an Apple authorized service provider? Do you think they have a no cat rule? It's probably a no pet rule.
Good question.
You fucked up your shoulder yesterday doing that stupid Skell game, didn't you?
No, it's pure. It's back to normal.
What about the other one?
What'd you do yesterday?
No, this is just barely scratched my neck.
Oh,
Good.
Did you try pressing on the? Oh no, you weren't here yesterday.
I was not.
I got the lowest score on that game.
We got a good game. So you know the scale.
What scale?
They use it to test grip strength. They squeeze the scale to try to get.
You know, check your weight scale.
Yeah.
Patrick picks it up.
Oh, and you squeeze it.
He sees the bottom of it and he presses on it. He sees the number go up. Then he's like, "Better get a high number than you." That's how it all started.
What's
Excuse me. How much did you quote me?
250 plus tax. First associate here. But we don't fix some fee policies, so we can't fix it. There's no charge.
And then the say 3 to 5 or 5 to 7.
Don't sell the stream. I know how to fix a switch.
They already know. Why? We're gonna start offering it.
No, there's no money in that. Maybe there is. I don't know.
We'll start fixing switches.
All I've learned is
Reflow.
everything I've learned is from Northridge Fix.
Reflow all the CPUs.
No, they do have CPU.
And now she mentioned she wants a switch. And I'm like, okay, I have 4 broken ones on my shelf, so let me try to fix it. And that's what I'm doing. Yeah. I figured I would actually just curious. If there's a place that goes down like this one. Because that's the CPU. And you're not going to see it. The funny thing is, you can try just reflowing this CPU and this one, it's just like, but it's extremely it's yeah, and fry it. Wait, what's on the other side? You can't really, this is just on the other side.
Okay, let's see what we have here. So first you have to solder down one pad. Whoa, whoa, wait.
You want to try
Is the did you?
do that with people?
No. Look at how far off this is.
Nothing is touched.
Wait, so is this sitting on the pad or is that actually soldered?
I think that was just a test solder from your like earlier.
But like, is that LED soldered on right now?
Touched in.
Okay, cool. So you have to slide that
I
in.
think I can start with that one because there's already solder there. Right, so this can move freely.
You need a harder touch than that. Let me show you something. All right. It did melt the other one, but I had the temperature really, really low on purpose. Here, you're doing this. Watch. Let's turn this up. You're doing this with the iron. Like,
What's on the other side of that?
you need to do this.
I told him that. I even turned off his soldering station to just really poke at it.
Is there anything on the underside of that board?
The underside?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Couldn't you just apply some solder paste and heat it from underneath until it melts from the
There's no, but then there's this.
and then the LEDs flow into place without
Oh, through hole's a lot easier.
But he has to learn this as a skill.
probably. This looks like one of those like paste and bake type of jobs.
It could be.
I mean, that's how they were doing in factory. I don't think someone would be sitting with.
Do I look like a 12-year-old Chinese kid?
In the factory, they would just apply solder paste and put the component on top and put it to bake at like a couple degrees above melt.
But this is not a factory. He has to learn how to do this because he's gonna have to solder a bunch of different types of components.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
That's a good point. I'm just saying for the sake of doing the job, that would probably be the fastest way.
Would it be easier if he hits the pad?
If you're working with 6 pads and you tin all of them, and you put the chip on top, it's going to be on top of the tin. Then if you only melt like 1 or 2 of them, it's not going to properly go down. It's like 6 big pads, you know what I mean? Like the chip would be like hovering on top of this.
It doesn't have. Well, if you only put one, you solder one pad, and then you slide the chip into it. But you heat the pad and then you slide it in.
That would work, but you were saying like wouldn't it work to just tin all of the pads?
Oh.
And I'm saying then you would have to trim
Oh,
on
yeah.
top of the pads.
Sonny,
And if
you took a
if
course
you
5
left, like,
times. What the?
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
It would be hovering over.
I just
the
didn't. No, I just didn't imagine that anybody would ask that, particularly somebody that took this course
Everything I
5
made
times in
like
2015.
Everything I made like that still works.
But it's like hovering on balls of solder.
Sonny.
Those are big pads. There's a lot of tolerance to those pads. Yeah.
Look at what else working on.
The day I gave up on repair as a business is the day when Mark showed me how to do a long screw damage on iPhone 6.
Gross.
Oh yeah, this is not a viable business.
Somehow Mark makes it work. You're not touching it at all. Pretend that you're punching Sonny in the shoulder. And that the pin in the pad is Sonny.
The left side is connected. I'm pushing the iron as hard as it.
I don't see any pushing going on here.
Turn the station off and try it.
There you go. Okay, that was closer, but still, like that was like tapping Sonny. I want you to punch Sonny.
It might just be that the solder, like, in that area is, like, mixed in with something.
Oh fuck.
There you go. That was better.
Oh fuck.
That was
better?
actual contact. Yes, that was actual contact made there. That's what we're looking for. Contact. Punch.
Good? I mean, this is the chip that pumps the charger. And the other one.
See, you almost wussed out in the beginning, but then you didn't wuss out at the end.
Do you have the chips on the bottle?
That was good.
There's no way to test like just these 4 or 5 of
Once you put the rest of the shit on, I think you need to put the LED driver and the other thing. The things that say U on the board, those are chips. Most likely a power chip or an LED driver of some sort.
Oh, what the fuck?
Yeah, like...
No,
What?
you saw me sit down and just open this, right?
Yeah.
The charging cable.
I don't know what that is.
That's a solder blob.
We can just scratch that off. It's okay.
You're not going to scratch it. You just use the flux, the iron, and it'll just get... that'll all get sucked onto the iron.
That's great. Does everything need to be plugged in? Does everything need to be plugged in?
You're barely touching it much.
Just to make sure it wasn't this one. Let's try this. I know this one has this one.
Okay, you probably need to use the big iron for this. This is the tiny one's not going to do it.
But that's not. We can wipe that off, I assume.
Plug it in.
Now?
Yep. And now turn the temperature up to 830.
It's an improvement.
No, this is a stupid station. This is HAKKO. They don't make sensible interfaces. So you have to hold this down, the star button, and then you scroll through like a 1960s alarm clock or something. All right. Okay, so that blob got put there somehow. This. There we go. It just got sucked up onto the iron. And then I can use this wick over here to wick it away. Yeah. Okay. So put the micro pencil back on. Mm-hmm. It beeps at you too. Very user-friendly interface. Okay. We change the temperature back to a temperature that's safe for soldering the LEDs. Okay. That's not a question, Loke. You're missing the first part of the sentence. You need the full sentence.
It's probably turning on, but I don't know.
Survive without we already figured it out.
Or you just listen to the internet. Yeah, just check that. Yeah. By blind one.
Yeah. Well, it's also just statistically the most common. That's the bad thing.
Wow, you made that Hershey's Kiss in real time. You made the Hershey Kiss in real time. Add flux. Also, you have to reorient your chip. You move it a few degrees clockwise. I've never used one that I liked, Wes. So no. Because it is, Darren. Because it is. Because that's what the free thumbnail guy made me. That's what the thumbnail. I don't know, Q. We're going to Florida at the on Thursday. Good 17-hour sleep. No way. Get these donuts out of here before I eat one. So chat, I'm giving the donuts away. You need to tell him, make sure that he's soldering well. You want a donut? This chocolate one here looks really good.
It looks like a booty hole.
No, at the moment I start trying to diet well, horrible foods arrives. I love it. Let's get Dan to gain some weight. Where's Dan?
I ate one already. I can't.
Oh yeah, you're right.
I can't. I ate one already.
That's crazy.
I'm already sick because I ate one. It's sickening. That's 20 minutes on the bike right there, Lewis. For a donut.
More. How many calories is in one of these?
270 for the vanilla sprinkle. I already checked.
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
that's like 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah. Probably closer to 30 actually.
Fuck, actually, can't see.
I had one already.
Look at this one over here.
I know, it looks delicious.
What about the pink one?
I'll fucking take it.
This one's filled with cream. That's why it doesn't have any sprinkles on it. You want the cream filled out?
It's filled with jelly, not cream.
For those who can't see, I'm holding the box of donuts as close to Danny's nose as possible
They smell so good.
to tempt it
You got it, you got it.
into not dieting.
I got it. Yo, I beat the Smurf. I beat him.
Actually?
Yeah, he loves his queen.
Oh no.
Why is Oreo on the front counter?
I don't know. He likes sitting there.
I don't think he knows how to get down because he has the joint problem.
But he had to have gone there somehow.
Anel put him there because he was simping for some chick some blonde that was up there. But now Oreo is a victim of Anel simping because he can't get there. Huh? The donuts look amazing.
They smell good.
There has to be a rule. You can't use the cats to try to get laid. Like that's not what they're here for.
Or just enjoying his stay.
He's like, okay, I'll stay here.
Oreo, do you like it up there? Or you just don't know how to get down? Oreo. Oh. Oreo, come here. Oreo. My landlord just waved at you, Oreo. Come out here. Can't use the cat to try to get laid.
Who would expect E5?
I can't eat a donut, Christoph. What tip is on that iron? Josh, that is a T30-KN for a HAKKO 2032 micro pencil. The T30-KN. Also, everybody, shout out to Josh Haley in the chat. That guy's a genius. A repairman, engineer, designer, one-wheeler, Red Bull addict. Vladimir, I don't need the rest right now. I will need the rest after a 19-hour drive to Florida, though. That's going to be a fun drive. I don't eat sweet stuff, Nathaniel. I can't afford it. I can't. Thank you, Shriek. Okay. You want to turn that on? There's a, what? There's a button on here. You want it straight? Yeah. This,
I'll just look to you. Okay, I'm looking at it now. It looks a little far to the one side.
that is as crooked as Mayor de Blasio. Okay, come on. Do that. You're going to preheat the board by applying the heat from far away. So you control the heat. You control your temperature not with what's on the dial, you control it with distance. So for instance, like 100 Celsius, 200, ow. See, like you're controlling your heat with distance because you're not going to be sitting there rocking this thing up and down. That's not how this works. So to do a proper profile, when you're using a BGA rework machine, there's usually a profile. It'll say like it's this temperature for this long, that temperature for that long, that temperature for that long. You're not doing that. So the way that you're going to deal with the heat is, or the temperature is with distance. So you want the board itself to be warm so that the heat doesn't wind up getting absorbed all by the... You want the board to be somewhat warm. The reason you want the board to be warm... I just rebooted. I did the Nancy Pelosi thing there. Good morning. Sunday morning. Yo, I'm going senile. Okay. Third time.
I
So
don't like any of
here's the thing. So let's say that this chip over here... Let's say that I'm heating this at 500 Celsius, right? But I'm not trying to heat the chip. I need the pad. The pad itself is what needs to heat to melt the solder, and the pad is attached to the board. So if I turn this to 500 Celsius and then I immediately put it right on there, A, I'm going to burn the chip at 500 Celsius. B, because the board itself is still cold, the pad is never going to make it even close to that. So what you want to do is you want to heat from far away, so that
general area.
Yeah, you want to preheat the board a little bit so that it kind of gets, so that the pads itself are warm as well as the chips, so that when you go into it, you don't have to have the temperature of the iron really, really high. If you don't preheat the board, you'll have to use a much higher temperature in order to heat that pad up. But before you've gotten that pad up to the temperature necessary to melt solder, you've already burned the chip on the top of it. You've already burned the top of the chip and likely destroyed it. Sorry, I completely Alzheimer'd that explanation, but let's see what you got. So remember, preheat the board from further away and then slowly move in slow increments.
How do you tell how hot it is?
Well, it says over here 325 Celsius. In terms of... Also, you're not going to have to tap it. It's going to naturally flow into place. You don't have to tap the chip for it to flow into place. That's how you know that you're melting solder. Good morning. Sunday morning. Wow. I can never make fun of Nancy Pelosi again. No, Craig Panel. That's already in there. I got a HAKKO because, I don't know, it worked. It had the tips that I wanted. Once I already had one HAKKO, it made sense for it to be a HAKKO shop so that the tips are interchangeable between the different stations. And we need one stock pool. Good morning. Sunday morning. Did it move?
It's still stuck there.
No tweezers. No tweezer. That is so off.
Because
That is so off center that it will move into place just fine the moment you heat it into place. Wait, do I have the right one under the microscope? I don't. Okay, shit. Yeah, that is so out of place that it'll move into place immediately once it's warm. Also, you're not pointing that at the actual LED. So you're pointing at it. You want the heat evenly distributed amongst. You don't want one side of the pads to be melted and the other side not to. And you're not looking in the microscope either.
Okay, hang on. The goal here is, because right now I'm aiming it at the two corners, just back and forth.
So here's the problem. If you're blowing on the right side of the chip, then the left side of the chip is going to melt before the right side of the chip. You don't want that. You don't want these pads to be melted and those not to be, or vice versa.
Yeah.
You want the heat to be evenly applied. So let me show you what you're doing. Let me show you what you should be doing.
Yeah,
So you're doing,
it's off right now.
like when you do this, I know. Wait, this, no, yes, or
Oh.
this.
oh, it is okay to go directly on top.
Yeah. The temperature is so low, you're fine. You can't heat only one side. That's never going to work. You can't only heat like half of them because you need all of them to be free in order for it to move. So go.
Well, if it's just generally, if it's just generally on top.
A part of the problem here is so how much did this whole thing cost?
Made in China. I don't know. It was a gift.
Okay. You're afraid of fucking this up. It's the same thing. You're not soldering. You're afraid to use hot air on the top. You're afraid to touch the thing with the soldering iron. You need to be afraid to fuck the. I want you to allow yourself the opportunity. I want you to give yourself permission to fuck this up. That's the only way you're gonna learn. Because you're afraid to touch the iron to the side of the chip. You're afraid to touch the iron of the pad. You're afraid to heat the LED at the top. Give yourself permission to fuck one of these up.
That's cleanly done.
Yes. See, the pads are all nice and flat, but now it blew away. But give yourself permission to screw this up. It'll get you further along in the process of learning how to do this, but more importantly, like having some sense of familiarity. I can touch this hard. Oh wait, if I touch that hard, I burn something. Or this is not. I'm not pushing hard enough, or I'm pushing so hard I left a mark in the board. You need to learn what that is, what those tolerances are, and you're only gonna learn that if
Drop this in the general area, and
you can.
heat
Yeah.
on it. You'll go in. Oh, that's cool. Self-extension. That's what we was doing in South Korea.
Okay, hear me out. Take a bite of cake, chew it up, and spit it out. That way you get the taste, but none of the calorie. You trying to train me to be a bulimic? No way. That could be fun, Josh. I'll train an L on one wheel repair. One moment. I have to use the restroom.
Outputting any voltage to the battery pins. This one should be charging the battery. Power's on at 0.7 kilowatts. I don't know if this is actually battery charging. The battery's also
It's a hot air station, Skixel.
My whole LED is really sticky, and I can't hold this in. Well, it sticks when I try to.
So? That's because it has flux on it. And the flux is very sticky when it's cold, but when it's warm, it turns into, it kind of gets more watery. Also, you're trying to place it perfectly. That's never going to happen. There's no point to that. It's going to naturally flow itself into place. So what you're going to do is you're going to heat it. Watch. You can do this. This is kind of like being a snake charmer. But that's
why I was about to go back
also,
to the solder and get the.
Watch. You can do this. Yoink. Look, you kind of have it there. Snake charmer. Whoa. See?
And it just falls.
Now it's your turn.
It wants to be centered.
It does want to be centered. It's going to do that to itself naturally. Now it's your turn.
I don't think the current is actually fun, because that's the same amount of current.
No.
0.40, this is a good one.
Well, it's not a good one because it's not posted. If it posts, it's going to take more time.
No, what I'm saying is, we were concerned that the battery actually might be bad.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I'm hungry. I could use some lunch.
But this one has good charging circuitry, this one has good charging. So even with the battery power, it charges.
No, there was fear there. Don't embrace the fear.
Something else is wrong. Maybe,
You see, you move the heat away right as it was moving into place. And now you're touching it with oh God, stop touching it with tweezers. When you take the heat away, do not touch. Once you take the heat away, there can be no more movement. Because you're moving it as it's drying. Also, you ran out of flux. You need to add some flux. Don't take the heat away and then try to move it into place with the tweezers. That's cheating. No, because you think about it. There's something that's drying, and while it's drying, you're moving it. That's kind of like you painted a wall and then you start touching the wall with your fingers while the paint is drying. Like, you can't do that. Or if they have pavement and somebody just put a bunch of pavement and then you start stepping on it, you wouldn't have a nice flat sidewalk. You'd have a bunch of footprints. You can tap it with the heat there, but you can tap it with the heat there, but you cannot move it once you take the heat away. Also, it's not even on the. You have to poke it because it's not on the pads on the left side, so it's not going to skate anywhere.
Oh, you gotta heat it up.
Yeah, but remember, there has to be heat. Heat. You have to point the heat at the chip, not at the chip above it. You're not heating both sides. And also, you spent enough time heating it that the flux is gone again, so you have the Hershey's Kiss looking on the upper right joint.
It's okay to just massive blob this whole area, right?
With flux?
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, you need a pool. You need a swimming pool of flux.
No fear. Pretend that this board is as plentiful as can be. It's like dating. If you think that the one person you're asking out is your only opportunity in life, you're going to be nervous and fuck everything up. If you think, if this woman says no, there's 100 more that I can ask out that may say yes, then you'll feel free to actually socialize. Same thing here. Like if you fuck that chip up, there's a million LEDs out in the world just like that. Until the U.S. goes to war with China. Which you see Biden's remarks on the whole, like we would defend Taipei or Taiwan if they invade Taiwan. It may happen. You never know. But
They walk that back real quick, right?
I noticed.
Yeah, we're not so sure about that.
Yeah, we don't have a draft, so we can't do that yet. Also, have it in the. Oh wait. Next, you stop this. You're cheating. Like, you look in here. You're looking. You have a microscope in front of you, but you're going out of your way to look out of the microscope. Look in this.
Tweezers in the left hand is so unnatural, though.
Switch it up.
You have to control your hot air more than your tweezers.
Which hand do you jerk over? Use that hand to hold
Left
the-
hand.
Left hand, use your left hand to hold the fucking iron. I mean,
Yo, right hand's gonna use the mouse, yo.
That feels weird, though. It's,
I don't know. Personal preference.
Fuck no.
Left hand's more like.
it's worse if you have a trackball. You know what it's like to use a trackball with your left hand?
If you jerk off with your left hand, you hold this with your left hand. Hold the highest with your left hand.
Sonny's right. Whichever hand is your jerk-off hand is the hand that holds the hot air.
There you go.
Okay, put the chip down. Put the LED down. Oh, so firstly, let's have this on the camera. Okay, now you go. You have the LED and stop that? Stop. No. Look in this. You can only look in the microscope.
Okay. So hold this down.
Yeah, hold it in that area. Not too tight, but so that it can move into place, but not too loose that it doesn't go away.
Start far away and then really ease into it. Yeah, you're too close. After.
Yeah, you have to start from further away and then slowly let the hot air get in there. You want to preheat the board a little bit.
Like foreplay.
I cut my nails today.
What if you're ambidextrous? Then jerk off with both hands. I don't know what you want from me.
You're not pointing it down.
Fingers, grasp, hold it down.
Yeah.
Slowly approach with more heat.
Yeah, you're gonna have to figure out how to have the nozzle pointing at the chip, but
Yeah.
without looking outside of the microscope.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. And off another way. Off another way.
Is that melting?
Okay.
feel like I got 5 out of 6 connections. The top right one doesn't look too good.
Yeah, there wasn't enough solder on there.
Yeah, you're good.
So you can solder that one manually.
Yeah.
But on the, and you also have a little bit of a solder void on the center one on the right side. But you can do that manually.
Center one on the right, what do you mean solder void?
Well, I mean,
Enough solder.
there's not enough.
Not enough.
There's barely any there.
It's
So
good enough.
it's conducting, but not really. But the upper right one is the last one that you got to do.
But it's centered.
The upper right one's not soldered, but it is centered.
But if you've got like 5 feet holding it in place, that's an easy.
Yeah. Surface tension will make it electrical magnetism. It's physics.
That's pretty good. That's perfectly centered. Now remember, don't be afraid when you're no, I sense fear. Stop that. But you're like, maybe no, maybe no. No, just
Stab it and then
Just like-
yeah, stab it and pull out real quick.
How good my plug game is.
stab it and pull out real quick.
Yeah, stab it and then unload and then yeah, pull out.
That sounds like O.J. Simpson. Stab it and pull out real quick.
Stab it and then unload the flux and then pull
Bam!
out.
See that? No fear. That's perfect. That's a no. The upper right. There's a perfect joint, but you just went in. You just went in.
Yes. Stab it and then unload and then pull out.
Does the top left need adjustment?
It could use a little bit more solder. I would flux it, not even add solder because there's going to be residual solder on your iron tip. Just add flux, tap it with the iron with no fear, and go again.
Yeah.
No fear.
Okay. That's good.
I'm looking at this chip. I just did. Well, now it's about right.
You're good.
What are you doing in there, Blackberry?
That's just a reflection
Who put you in there?
from the light. Clean the tip. Always clean the tip. Stab it. Like, well, stab it. Stab it. Yeah. Stab it a couple times and then go. Here we go. It's now 623 more to go.
Move my bag. That's his.
Is that yours?
Should be a red one.
How'd they get over there?
It fell off the back of this chair, man.
Oh, oops.
Not 0. This place is welcome the rest of the week.
Yeah, there's 3 more. I forget the times that I put, but they're in the calendar.
I think tomorrow's is like during the work.
Earlier, and then 5 to 7 again.
That's so strange.
I put 5 random times, and whatever time has the most people is the one that I'm going to use for the future.
Okay, so the first one,
Yeah.
tin the
I'm telling you, that chip goes back.
flux
very
the
often.
board, tin
Even
the
if it's not
board, and then
soldered,
push
it's
the chip towards it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's my method. I mean, there's probably other methods out there that make more sense.
I like to do one side at a time. Take it and slide it into it. Yeah, do 3 at a time. You know what I'm talking about?
Tin 3,
Yeah,
and
just-
then slide the side of the chip into the.
yeah.
That's a dumb question, Ryan D. I mean, if this was audio only, I would say it's a smart question, but there's video, so. What do you take me for, a Cuomo?
No, keep the pad first if you want to slide it.
Oh, tin the pad.
Let me show you.
So that's heating the pad and dipping this into it.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't know where the. Put it in the center. Put the thing in the center.
Ryan, come on.
Yeah, well, you
Come on. That's an even dumber question now.
stab it. Stab it. Stab the pad. Unload. Move it back and forth. Unload. Move it back and forth. Not moving. Wiggle it.
Oh, like left and right.
Yeah, wiggle at the tip a little bit. You got it. Unload. Wiggle.
Oh.
No Hershey's Kisses.
Yeah.
You're spending way too much time tap. It should be a tap and gone. Like you're half tapping it, but you're half tapping it for 2 or 3 seconds rather than just fully tapping it, but tapping it and being gone.
Okay. Now you have to heat up all 3 pads at the same time and then slide that one into it.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Josh, I like the Atten 862, but I'm partial to it because I sell it. But it's the best thing that I've found that's fairly cheap. It also comes with bent nozzles, and I really like the bent nozzles.
1, 2, 3 at the same time, and once they all heat up, you just slide them into it.
Christoph, that's 100. That's 180 IQ right there. See, Christoph is used. I could smell wood burning from Christoph's brain.
You know. Yeah, literally slide it back and forth. That's not on the pad. The LED is not on the pad. It's floating. You look it from the side. Yeah, see?
It's not touching the.
Yeah, it's not touching the board. You can't press it down, you have to take it off.
Off completely.
Yeah. It's not touching the board.
Heat up. Heat up. Get me out of here.
Is it coming off?
Slowly.
All right, I got to get myself some lunch, so Sonny will be conducting the rest of this.
Lunch at 7 p.m.
I'm kind of hungry. That's it for today, and as always, I hope you learned something. We have another one of these Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. The link is in the description below for the calendar, and that's about that. Bring your projects, bring your stuff.
Yeah, I'm a wizard.
They can work on my donor boards, Alan, if they want to get the feel of it. I have some donors here they could work on. But yeah, that's about that. I got to get something to eat before I pass out. I'm Nancy Pelosi-ing my speech, and I'll see you later.